All right, everybody, we'll go ahead and get started. Hopefully you can all hear me okay. Send me a chat if you can. When you first log in, you should have the option to either use your computer audio or the phone audio. I personally recommend using the phone. It typically works a little bit better for me. That's what I'm doing right now. So welcome to those of you who were not with us last month. This month, we're going to be going over the next 2 hours. The first hour, I will be covering GTZ Ship, primarily how to sell it, what the core competencies are. I'm going to operate under the assumption that you have some kind of basic background with carrier rate or GTZ Ship. If you do not have any experience with carrier rate or GTZ Ship, you're going to want to email my team at agenttraining@globaltrans.com, and we can give you a full walkthrough on essentially all the basics, what your customer would see, and how you would use it. But I'm going to operate under the assumption, again, that you kind of have a basic understanding, and really I want to show you how to appropriately sell this to your customers. So the first hour, I'm going to go over GTZ Ship. I am joined by Adam Sosna, who will go over the carrier sales process. So a lot of the agents who have now maybe opted out or opted in or whatever, and you want to kind of understand the operational side of truckload, he's going to kind of help you do truckload pricing, how to find good carriers, establish relationships, assign them within the system, and all that good stuff. So one thing I would like to ask is that you keep questions to the chat and not any questions over audio. The same goes for the people that are in the room with me. Unfortunately, with only an hour for each, if I go and answer every question, we won't get anything done. So please email me directly with questions. Worst case scenario, I can hop on a call with you separately and answer any questions that you have as well. So let's go ahead and get started with GTZ Ship. I see some of you said that you're having some sound issues, but yes, you do need to install the app for the WebEx. So what am I going to discuss over the next hour? Again, if you could, please make sure you're on mute. Basically, what is GTZ Ship? A lot of people are a little bit confused about the wording or nomenclature of GTZ Ship. It is Carrier Rate 2.0, okay? It is part of a marketing rebrand. There are not any major structural changes at this time from Carrier Rate 2.0 to GTZ Ship. Long term, there will be added features. Kayla Doherty is the product manager on GTZ Ship, and she'll be adding a lot of features over the coming months and years. But at this time, it's clearly really a marketing exercise. Second one, how do your customers gain access to GTZ Ship? Quoting, booking, and managing. What are the core competencies and how to sell? Okay, first, what is GTZ Ship? Again, if you can mute, I'd appreciate it. It is a browser-based portal where your customers can quote, book, and manage their own LTL. It is not where you are going to go in and book and quote their LTL. A lot of people get that confused, okay? You will use Command Center to dispatch your customers' LTL shipments and book them on your own if they're not using Carrier Rate or GTZ Ship directly, okay? So this is a customer-facing website. It is browser-based. It can be accessed from any major browser like Internet Explorer, Chrome, Firefox, anything like that. And it's broken into 4 main buckets. That's going to be quoting, booking, managing, and reporting. Hold on, I got to throw some people on mute here. Okay, I have some of you off mute. Please mute your microphone. Thank you. Okay. Quoting, ability to quote and book LTL shipments automatically. Again, that is going to be from the customer side. A customer can go in, quote lanes, if they need a guaranteed shipment, if they need additional insurance, that will all be listed there as an option within GTZ Ship. Okay? Now that's primarily for LTL. If you want truckload and expedited quotes, you can do that through GTZ Ship, but all it's going to do is automate a quote request to the agent, to you, in order to price that out yourself, okay? There are no tariffs or contracts associated with truckload, which is why Adam is going to talk about the inherent difference of truckload after I'm done, okay? There are no pricing tariffs with truckload like there is with LTL. So your customer can request a quote, but it will just automate an email to you, and you're still going to need the tools that Safin is going to show you to price and then respond to your customer with a rate. Second one is going to be booking. So once your customers quote a specific lane with weight, class, pallet count, NMFC number, they can book that directly through the system. You will still need to dispatch that shipment through the quote manage board on Command Center, okay? There's no way to automatically dispatch an LTL directly through carrier rate, okay? You'll see it under your pending board on quote manage in Command Center. Customers can also manage their current book of business, so all of their LTL shipments and their truckload shipments. So even though they cannot book a truckload through GTZ Ship, they will still have visibility to active truckload shipments within the shipment board as well. And all of the shipment boards can be exported through Excel, PDF, or a CSV file. And then last but not least is the reporting tools. The reporting tools are one of those things that a lot of your customers are not going to inherently have on their own. It isn't something that GTZ Ship offers to them to kind of give them visibility around their LTL and truckload, who their top carriers are, what's the carrier scorecarding, what are their top lanes, classes, lowest cost carriers, a lot of information that most customers don't have on their own. Now, how does your customer access GTZ Ship? Every single customer has access to GTZ Ship. When you set up any new customer or you're transferred a customer, in order for them to do business with Global Trans, they have to acknowledge our terms and conditions, and they do that through the GTZ Ship website. So technically, any customer that's actively doing business with Global Trans has a login already to carrier rate, and you can find that under the user section in customer management, which I'll show you in a few minutes. Now, when you are out selling to your customer, it's really going to depend on the size of the customer. If they're a small to medium-sized LTL shipper, you know, typically doing less than maybe $15 million a year in top-line revenue, the number one thing is their ability to quote and book all of their LTL shipments using one platform, okay? Instead of, you know, Susie at whatever steel company calling FedEx, UPS, Saia, Estes, getting, you know, 4 different quotes, comparing those quotes, and then calling back with a pickup number, they can go on, see all these rates, book everything, and make all their payments through one website, okay? So for the SMBs, that's going to be the easiest thing to talk to them about. But as you deal with larger and larger companies, that's when a lot of the reporting functions come into account, and you really want to push the reporting, address book, and product book management, so the ability for them to put all of their locations into GTZ Ship, as well as product lists for each user and for each location. And all of those things can be restricted by permissions as well. So you can have an account admin who can add addresses and add products, or you could have someone who is possibly just one warehouse manager in Los Angeles, and they can manage anybody within that warehouse, but not the other locations as well. Okay, so like I said, first thing to sell is LTL quoting and booking. The main core competency of GTZ Ship is their ability to get immediate rates with over 100 carriers and do everything online. Okay? But again, as we get with those larger customers, that's not going to be nearly as important because as they get larger, they can get their own FAKs, they can get their own CSPs, some of them will have pallet rates. So getting immediate rates or integrating with their ERP system isn't going to be nearly as important with a larger customer as address book management, product book management, and the ability to create dashboards and reporting tools that kind of tells them when and where and why they're spending money the way that they are. So some of the marketing materials, we do have one-sheeters and marketing materials. If you haven't received that yet,
looking at this meeting.
Please let me know and I can get that information to you. Okay, so now I'm going to switch into carrier rate from Command Center. So hopefully most of you are familiar with this, but from the customer management widget, what you want to do is type in your customer. You'll find your customer. I've got Copeland demo here. Go to details, users. Again, every single customer will have this. In order to get set up with Global Trans, they have to have received our terms and conditions and agreed to those. Below that, we'll click CR 2.0 switch, and that will switch us into their carrier rate. Now, again, this is not something that you're going to regularly do. Usually, I use the switch function when a customer is having an issue finding something, or maybe they're not seeing something in their GTZ ship portal, so I'll use the switch feature to log in what they're seeing to kind of see if I can find out what the issue is. Or another thing that I do is I like to go in and set up their users and address books for them, maybe put their logo in and change their color scheme before they have a chance to log in. Usually you have about 5 or 10 minutes after they've acknowledged the terms and conditions for you to switch in and make those changes. Give me 1 second. We're trying to fix the sound for everybody. Okay, so once you hit that switch button, it'll open up another window with GTZ Ship, and this is in impersonation mode. So this is exactly what your customer sees when they log in, and you're essentially acting as them, and you can go in and run quotes, you can look at their shipment history, you can run any kind of reporting that they want, and you're essentially seeing everything that they see. So across the top, the most important things are going to be rates. So again, hopefully you're all familiar with this. New LTL, that's going to be beginning to end. They will be able to quote, book, track, and pay those shipments. On new truckload, they'll be able to submit quotes, and same with expedited. They can submit the quote, but we still have to manually quote that shipment out and then email them the response. Your shipment board, this can be filtered by location and time frame. And then all shipments that they've ever done can also be exported as a PDF, a CSV, or an Excel spreadsheet.
Right? Yeah. I'll take them and bring them.
Under the reporting section, we have the dashboard. This can be customized as well. You can remove these tiles and add these tiles as necessary. Again, if everyone can make sure they're muted, I'd appreciate it. Okay, claims. We've completely automated the claims process. All of our claims are actually handled through GTZ Ship now, and that's up here in Documents and the Claims form. We try to push our customers to GTZ Ship, fill all this out. That way our claims team can start working on it directly from here instead of us, emailing documents back and forth. Accessorial exceptions, so rebills, rewaives. It'll tell you who the carrier is, how often you're getting rebilled, what the amount is, and what kind of rebill it is. So you can pull that out, download a PDF, send that to the customer, and hopefully try to drive their business in a way that is going to eliminate a lot of those accessorials. Carrier scorecarding, their top 15 carriers that you use will be listed here. Again, we can do it by location and by time frame, but it's going to show you all the necessary information for each carrier they've ever used on LTL, total spend, number of shipments, total pounds, average class, most common class, average length of haul, all that good stuff. Freight spend, that's a report that they can run just on financials. Towards the end here, I'll show you how you can actually manage what visibility their users have. So if they have somebody in the accounting department that you don't necessarily want quoting and booking shipments, we can give them financial only access where they can come in here and make payments and run reports, but they won't be able to quote and book any shipments. My personal favorite is the shipping analysis report. And I'm going to pull this back up so you can see what this looks like. In my opinion, this is the most powerful report. This is a report I would use probably on a quarterly basis with my top clients. It allows you to kind of drill into their entire business and go from just being, their salesperson to really being their logistics consultant and helping them manage their locations, possibly even consolidating their LTLs into volume shipments or truckload, or if we need to look at other supply chain opportunities like final mile or white glove. This is going to give you the information that allows you to kind of start that conversation with them. So for example, on the first page, this will have a total summary of all their shipments that they've booked. Again, even though they can't book a truckload through GTZ Ship, it will still report on all of their truckload business that they've done with Global Trans. It pulls it right out of Command Center, and it populates on this report as well. So we have a breakdown of truckload, LTL, and a total. We've got total load counts, total spend, and then it breaks that spend down into line haul and fuel. Just like with the other reports, you can set a time frame for these. So if I want to do year to date, month to date, I just want to know what they did in May, you can do your own custom ranges and create pretty much any timeline you want for these reports. Me personally, like I said, I like these quarterly. I think this is a really good kind of QBR. Sit down with the customer, hey, here's how we've done. It looks like, we're really strong in this lane. Possibly we need to work on this lane and kind of get that conversation going with the customer. Averages across the customer's book of business, so average weight, distances, cost per pound, cost per mile, claims-free percentages. You can cross-reference that with the LTL scorecard to see if there's specific carriers that maybe we're getting accessorials for a certain location more than another carrier. Down below that, we have shipment count by day of the month. So this is going to show us which day of this past month, so this is a 30-day report, and how many shipments have been shipped within that calendar day, okay? Now, one way you could definitely use this is when you see, an exorbitant amount of shipments being shipped on a certain day or a certain week. If we look at the lane analysis and we see that there's, a consistent lane or a consistent commodity, we could run that as a volume shipment or as a truckload or as intermodal to kind of bring these shipment counts down, saving them money, but hopefully also making you money as well. The next page is going to be top origin and destination by load count, okay? So it's going to take every shipment that they've done in the past 30 days and what is their top shipper and their top receiver. So in this customer's instance, their Quincy, Illinois location is their top location for both outbound and inbound, okay? And then it goes in descending order by spend. It is not in descending order by shipment, it's actually by cost. Now, once you have that information, you can actually look at the individual lane analysis. I skipped one page, I'll go back. This will not only show you, the first one showed you top origin, top destination. Even though Quincy was the top origin and the top destination, Edwardsburg, Michigan to Quincy is that's their number one lane, okay? So in the course of 1 month, they moved 16 shipments for $7,300 in this lane. Okay, 16 LTLs could be 3 or 4 truckloads, right? So if we're identifying specific lanes with a customer, hey, 30% of what you move is in this specific lane and you do it every single month, why can't we consolidate those into 5 volume shipments or 3 truckload shipments, okay? You're going to save them money, could save you time, and you could possibly make more money on that. Now, going back, this will break down the length of haul for each one of their shipments. So a way that I like to use this is you can see at the very top between 1001 and 2000, it shows that there were 164 shipments in 1 month that were over 1,000 miles. Okay? I'm probably going to have a couple different conversations with the customer. If you're moving LTLs over 1,000 miles 164 times a month, you either need another location, right, or you need to start consolidating those LTLs into truckloads. Guarantee you they're leaving a lot of money on the table by moving 164 shipments in 1 month over 1,000 miles, right? But without this report, there's no way for me to know that information. And this is a lot of information that customers probably aren't running as well, right? You can put this in front of them, give them your advice, and then kind of sit back and see where they want to take it. Accessorial breakdown. The grid at the bottom left will show you all the charges they've incurred over the past 30 days. This customer, for example, has over $5,000 in accessorial fees just this month alone, okay? That's over $60,000 a year that you, as their agent or as their sales rep, can help them mitigate, okay? I think you can show a lot of value there if you can save your customers $60,000 a year in accessorials, right? So if you look at the third line item down, 61 high-cost deliveries. Yeah, the total was only $793, but they were hit 61 times and pretty much twice a day, every day for 30 days on high-cost deliveries. This is where we can go back into the address book and find out what default settings are set for that location that's causing a high-cost delivery, okay? So maybe a certain location is really a residence or a hospital or a prison, but it's set up as a business, okay? Now, if we change that default setting to a residence, when we book that LTL or your customer books that LTL, they're no longer going to be getting those high-cost delivery charges, okay? Same goes for the 3 lift gates, okay? If we know that a location requires a lift gate, we can set lift gate as a default accessorial so that when you or your customer books a shipment out of that location, it'll automatically add that lift gate as an accessorial. To the right, expedited. So again, you can't book an expedited through here. You can quote it, but it still will report on their expedited business as well. Okay, the last 2 pages on the shipping analysis are heat maps, origin heat map, and destination heat map, and this is by shipment count. It's actually a little bit backwards. It's actually green is actually more instead of red. Like you can see, like we saw in the lane analysis, Quincy, Illinois is their top origin and top destination, which is why Illinois is such a dark green. But another conversation you can have with a customer is maybe identifying specific markets where they don't have customers in. So for example, it looks like, you know, pretty much the West Coast and the upper Midwest, they're not doing a lot of business in or out of that area, and it's mostly going down towards the Southeast, okay? Maybe they could use that for their sales team to target a certain location, okay? Or we know that they're moving a lot of volume between Illinois and Florida. Maybe that's a specific lane that we want to consolidate using volume or truckload services. Now, some things to remember. Again, this is some marketing content that I have. If you need sell sheets, marketing content, I also have videos. I have short ones and long ones. I have a few short GTZ ship videos that are small enough to send in an email that you can send to a customer. I also have all the processes broken down into videos. So creating an LTL quote, creating a truckload quote, creating an expedited quote, accessing the shipment board. I have those broken into small chunks and videos, and I can send those to you as well. So, most important things to remember when selling this. First one is going to be track and trace. Again, the language is going to say carrier rate 2.0, but that is the same as GTZ ship. This is all being redone right now. Carrier rate 2.0 will sync up with our carriers. If we have EDI connection with our carrier, we will get updates as soon as the shipment is checked back into, you know, the origin terminal or the destination terminal. And when a tracking update is available, the blue pin in GTZ ships will go from light blue to dark blue. That means that a tracking update is available for that shipment. The address book, again, if they have multiple locations, I highly recommend either building their address book for them or making sure that they understand that they can put in multiple addresses. They can assign it to users. I'll show you that here in a second. That's going to allow them, when they build shipments, to not make mistakes on origin and destination. Okay, they're going to select the address book button and select the location that's listed right below that. Export and search. Every single report, dashboard, shipment board, the fiscal reports, everything in GTZ Ship is exportable to PDF, Excel, and a CSV. Okay, PODs. We also upload PODs of LTL shipments within 72 hours. As long as we receive them, within 72 hours, they will be uploaded into carrier. Okay, as you all know, it's hit and miss from the carriers, but as long as the carriers give it to us and it hits Command Center will pull it into GTZ Ship and it will be available as a POD. I got a question here about accessorials. Charges are not the same. Yeah, every carrier charges separately, but if you set the accessorial as a default, it'll add that in when we go to dispatch, but again, the charges could be totally different between Roadrunner and UPS and FedEx or SIA or whoever, okay? Reporting tools. Like I said, every LTL, truckload, and expedited shipment is stored in here where they can report on it, and they can go back as far as they want to pull those reports, especially as an Excel spreadsheet, and they can use it however they want. Push email notifications. So we can set defaults. I'll show this as well. We can set default email notifications based on users. So when a load is dispatched or delivered or out for delivery, they will get an email notification that there has been a change status on that shipment. Instant bill of lading. So customers will not only get bill of ladings for LTLs that they build through the system, but they can actually do their own quick BOLs as well. When going to quote an LTL, you have the option that says My BOLs or Quick BOL, and you can just create a quick bill of lading from there if they're going to be using a carrier maybe outside of our system. Spot quote tool. This is something that we're really trying to work on over the next year. is right now we're only active with XPO and I believe like 1 or 2 other carriers. But long term, what we'd like to do is have spot quoting ability within all of our LTLs. So if there's a specific lane or a specific market that an LTL carrier has too much capacity in and they're trying to move trailers out of a certain market, we'll actually get spot quotes with lower rates than our tariffs, right? So the example that I always like to use is Hurricane Harvey last summer, right? Even though our tariffs are 70 to 90% off retail rates, when Hurricane Harvey happened, all the terminals in Houston were trying to move all their dry vans out of Houston, right? They'd rather have them making deliveries in Portland than getting destroyed in Houston. So if you were to call and get a spot quote from them during Hurricane Harvey, the rates were sometimes even lower than our tariff prices. So what we would like to do is give that opportunity to the customer, right? So they can go in, get a spot quote, get a tariff quote, but, and I know what you're thinking, if the rate's lower, that means you're going to make less. No, you can actually set a spot quote to run at a different margin percentage than a normal LTL, okay? So me, for example, let's say I'm running an account at 20%, but if they're going to run a spot quote and the cost is less than our tariff, I want to run all spot quotes at maybe 30%, okay? So you're saving your customer money. They're going to like the fact that they were able to get an instant spot quote that's possibly less, but you're actually going to make more margin percentage on a specific spot quote. Audit and online payments. So the easiest and fastest way for a customer to make payments is actually through GTZ Ship. They can get set up on direct deposit. They can do a one-time check draft, an open check draft, credit card authorization, and those payments will hit their account immediately. Multi-facility visibility, so I was talking about the address book. They can upload as many locations as they want, and each location can have an admin and users underneath them. Why don't I hop in and kind of show you what that looks like. Okay, so from here, we have user management, so we'll go to admin, user management, add new user. Now, anybody can do this. So your account admin, who's going to be whoever you set up the account with, will be able to create new users. They'll be able to set their permission level and then also associate them with a certain warehouse or a certain location. So you'll start out with their username, their email, their contact name, and then under that you see primary user group, okay? I just have Scottsdale because this is just my demo account. This is the dead account. I'm not trying to book real LTLs right now. But if I had, let's say, 10 locations, I can associate that user with a certain location or with a certain group of locations, okay? So if I have a West Coast division that has warehouses in Colorado, Arizona, and California, I can associate them with a user group that only allows them access to ship out of those 3 locations and the address books for those 3 locations, okay? I can go even further, okay? Maybe I just want somebody to have access to the Colorado location. You can do that as well, okay? And within each one of the locations, I can determine what kind of access they have. The default is going to be a standard user. A standard user is going to be able to quote, book LTLs, run reports, make payments, but they won't be able to add users or change anybody's user set. A user group admin would be somebody, I use the example of a California location. Maybe you're the warehouse manager for a California location. We don't want you being able to change everybody's access, but we want you to be able to change users within California, and you can do that at the user group admin level. I talked about having a West Coast division or West Coast warehouses with California, Colorado, and Arizona. With the multiple user group admin, that person will be able to control a certain group of warehouses, okay? So that would be a good example, right? We have our West Coast division, and you can manage anybody under those 3 locations. Okay, and below that we have the account admin. That's the person who can create any role, change permissions, upload address books, pretty much do anything. Okay? And then the last one, which I think is actually pretty important, is the financials only account. So I used the example a little bit earlier. If you have somebody in the accounting department and their job is to just come in and make payments, you give them a financials only access, and below that you can choose whether or not they have access to reporting and financials, and this is for everyone. So if you want a standard user to not be able to access financials, you can do that. But for a financial only user, we would have them, they could go in, make payments, but we don't want them running quotes, canceling loads, sending in truckload requests, maybe, pulling reports and exporting them. Maybe we don't want them to do that, and you can control that from here. Below that, you can also do activation notifications. So if you want to know when people are setting up new users, I'm the account admin and I want to make sure that Jim in California isn't, adding his buddy as an account admin, you can do that by getting notifications as to who's been added as a new user. Now, the addresses in the product sections, they function literally identically. The address book and the product book are very, very easy to use. Just like the user permissions, I can set an account as an admin, a user group admin, multiple user groups, or an individual user. Same thing with the address book and the product book. Okay? My address book can be associated to Brandon Copeland. It could be associated to everybody in the Scottsdale office, everybody on the West Coast, or everybody in the entire organization. Couple options. You can just add a new address. All the blue fields are required. But down at the bottom is what I was talking about as far as pickup defaults. And this is where you can save your customer money. By putting in open and close times, what kind of location is it, what type of accessorials do they have, and then any pickup remarks, this will be saved, so anytime this location is inputted as an origin or a destination, they can't really mess it up. Now, what I recommend is that, especially if it's a larger customer with more than 3, 4, or 5 locations, you're going to want to get them to fill this out. It's a very simple template. It's an Excel template with company name, contact, any of the one with a red asterisk is required, a required field. Once they fill that out and they save it to their computer, they can go to Browse and they can upload it in here and it'll automatically upload it into their address book. Same exact thing for the product book. See, this looks exactly the same. Okay, I can associate commodities with a user, with a warehouse, with a group of warehouses, or an entire account. Nice thing here, putting in freight classes, so they can't mess that up, right? Weight, even number of units, hazmat details, so if we know it's hazmat, we can put in the UN and the NA codes. Whether or not it's stackable, DIMS, I highly recommend that you kind of push your customer in this direction. It's going to save them a lot of money long term if we build this all out at the beginning, instead of having them manually enter every single shipment and possibly making a mistake on one digit on an NMFC number or one digit on the class and you getting rebilled $1,000. Especially right now with all the changes in the LTL community with cubic capacity and GRIs. A lot of the cubic capacity limits have been moved down to what was it, 350 cubic feet now? It was like, what, 650, 750 for some of them, and now some of them are all the way down to 350. So you can save your customers literally thousands of dollars by making sure that these classes and these NMFC codes are built out properly, especially with DIMS. Okay, one last thing. Like I said, what I like to do when I onboard a new customer is when they get sent the terms and conditions and I have the ability to switch in, I like to switch in first, go to settings, upload a picture, just go to Google Images, let's say, I'm talking to Walmart, right? And I can go on, get a Walmart logo, plug it in there, change the theme. I know it sounds cheesy, but change the theme to, something that looks like Walmart, something that's all blue, right? And when they log in, I know it sounds funny and cheesy, but I'm telling you, when they log in for the first time and they see their own logo, their own color scheme, it's not just a Global Trans website they're logging into. It really feels like it's their portal, right? Because if they're running their own quotes, booking their own shipments, getting all their own reporting, address book management, user management, and it looks like their color scheme and their logo, they're going to be much more likely to use it long term. But also, under the contact info, this is where I was talking about default notifications, okay? So we can make a couple choices here. We have emailing a copy of all bill of lading, okay? So maybe you have a shipping manager that says, hey, no matter what gets moved out of my location, I want to make sure I'm CC'd on all BOL. Just do that right here. You turn this on, you put in their email. Same thing with default tracking notifications. Maybe I want to be notified every time a load is dispatched, delivered, and a POD is updated. But then I also want my team to know when a load is out for delivery so they can be ready. I can put my email in the top, theirs in the bottom, and I can update that and it'll save for any shipment that's moved. Same thing for bill of lading numbers, PO numbers, and reference numbers. Okay? A lot of clients have their own reference numbers or PO numbers that have to be associated with a load in order to get picked up. You can require that as part of the booking. Okay, so when someone books, they have to put in a PO number. Okay, and then that can be associated with the address book at the individual level, the group level, or at the entire account level. Okay, I did just get a question on Quick BOL. So from the home screen right here, you see there's quick links atop the across the top. These are all the things that people use the most often, okay? Rating and LTL, shipment board, report dashboard, carrier scorecard, the summary report, shipment manifest, and the quick BOL. Here's that quick BOL, okay? I'm not booking a shipment, I'm just creating a bill of lading, okay? So I put in origin, destination, unit type, piece count, weight, all that good stuff. Go to next. I'll create that bill of lading. The customer can either email it as a PDF or they can print it directly from here as well. A lot of customers like that. Okay. Here's another place too. You can upload their logo on the home screen.
Question? Yeah. If you're on reporting, this customer with LTL only, if they truckload LTL, so the origin destination, does it break down the truckload LTL, or does it just show total data in general?
I'll find out. Okay. Save quotes and favorite quotes. So one last thing I want to show you is the favorite quotes. I don't have any in here, but when you're creating an LTL quote, you can mark it as favorite, and when you mark it as a favorite, it'll pre-populate under the favorite list, and you don't have to keep putting in origin and destination details every single time. Most locations are shipping the same thing constantly, so you either want to save the quote or you want to mark it as a favorite quote. So once I go to select carrier, I'll be able to mark favorite, but I can't do it here. I'll show you. Yeah, one thing somebody brought up here is you can have multiple tabs open at once. So you see I had the quick BOL I just showed you. I have my favorite tab still open. I have my LTL here. I can do the same thing with another truckload. So I can be doing multiple things at once. Here's what I was talking about, the truckload quote, origin, destination, blue fields are required, and then it'll just submit the quote request directly to the agent associated with it, and then you'll have to reply to that email. Questions about NMFC codes, I'll respond to that separately outside of this. I'm going to hand it over here to Adam Sofna. Like I said, if you have questions, please email me directly. However, if you haven't gone through the GTZ ship training or you haven't gone through Quote Manager, you have somebody new on your team, please email agent training at Global Trans and they can handle all of the onboarding for you. We do broker training, we do command center, carrier rate, shipper center. We also do like a back office training. We spend about an hour going over all the different departments we have here in Scottsdale, how to utilize them, escalation charts. So feel free to reach out to me directly or to that team to get your team signed up. And then I will go back through this chat and I will respond directly to those of you that had questions. All right?
Well, I haven't heard anything else. Well.
All right. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Adam Sofna. I am the Director of Sales here at Global Trans in Scottsdale. I'm looking forward to having a brief overview on carrier sales. Quick little timeline for you. First and foremost, we're going to talk about some command center tools that myself and my team use to book full truckloads. We'll go through some tools in DAT and truck stops, how to post loads, search loads, rate full truckloads, a lot of good information that my team uses on a daily basis to book full truckloads. Right now, we're just pretty much ending Q2 right now, heading into Q3. It's been a little crazy out there in the full truckload market, and we will have a couple talking points regarding that. One of your full truckload customers has a couple lanes that run 2 to 10 loads a week. We will have a quick discussion regarding leveraging volume and selling that to carriers and getting a consistent dedicated rate, which that in turn can help obviously keep the cost down to a minimum and keep the customer happy. And last but not least, we will talk about some of the posting techniques and negotiating tactics that myself and my team uses. All right, we'll start off with the carrier management tool. I would say this is by far our #1 resource that the brokers use here in Scottsdale. We will go step by step through this, but I want to give you a quick overview of what it looks like. This is a widget in Command Center. If you have any questions on how to add that, you're more than welcome to reach out to Help Desk and get that fixed for you. First and foremost, you put the quote and bill rating in the input into that carrier management on the top right of the screen. If there's not a quote or a bill rating and you just want to start sourcing some trucks or something, you're more than welcome just to put the origin and destination, the equipment type, the service type, and radius, and it will spit out a bunch of the carriers in the entire network here at Global Trans. And there's a lot more valuable tools on it, and we'll do a live feature of it right now for you. Okay. All right. I hope you can all see that. All right. So, put that down just a little bit more. Come on. Get that out of there. So let's say you have a bill lading that you're working on and you need to start sourcing some trucks for it. So in the top left corner, I would recommend putting the quote or bill lading into the top left of the screen. Click select. And right there, you'll see a huge list. We have about 30 pages of carriers within our network that have done a 100-mile radius from San Diego to Reno, Nevada. By far, once again, I will touch base on that. It's been the most valuable tool that our brokers use to help source full truckloads. And you can do a lot of additional features for that, and we'll touch base on it. But you can give you the NC number right there. If it's bookable or not, their telephone number. You can tell this first carrier's done 124 full truckloads within that lane. The average cost, the average rate per mile, and the minimum cost. One of the cool features that you have is you have something specific that your customer wants to reach out about. All you have to do is click refine search, and you have all these extra features that you can add to help source full truckload carriers for your lane. You have hazmat, you have OD, heavy, team drivers, 24-hour dispatch, and another great tool for some of our customers that we have with insurance requirements. You can pull that up as well. Another cool little feature right now is just to get bookable, just to get them going right now. You can also click search on that and redefine it. And it went from down to 30 to 18. That's just bookable in our system. Just because it's not bookable doesn't mean we can't use them. All it means, it might just have an additional insurance certificate that needs to be updated, or a new packet, something that is also very, very easy. If you have any questions regarding that to make a carrier bookable, reach out to carriersetup@globaltrans.com. Our history. We're also, another thing is, once you go in the full truckload and we'll be able to see this on a live basis, is clicking the history button. It's great, phenomenal for spot quoting. When your customer reaches out to you, says, I have a Los Angeles to Houston load, picking up in 3-4 hours, highly recommend using our internal history, so everything in the Global Trans network, to help get a very valuable quote to pass that on to the customer. And at the end of the day, we all want to make money. It's great for carrier sourcing, just like the carrier management tab. And we will see it once I do a live demo of it. If you see an outlier cost, that is most likely going to be due to accessorials. For example, we have an LA to Houston, and we have 10 carriers, around 3,000, 2,900, 28. But you see one of them at a $3,700 to $3,800. That might be due to a couple of layovers or whatnot. I would recommend taking that outlier out, and then you're around that $2,800 to $3,000 quote to the carrier. You mark it up how you see. You mark it up how you see fit, and we're all in a good position. And once again, we'll do a live demo of that right now for you. All right, so this say you got one of your customers calling and asking about a San Diego to Reno load. This is one of my team's loads that we have to book. Let's say this is one of your loads. You got a San Diego to Reno. First thing we'll do is pop in this truck engine or this history, but we'll pop in the history and make it a little bigger for everyone to see. Pop that so it's nice and easy to read. And as you can see the origin radius. You can make an adjustment on that. The origin destination, you can make an adjustment on that. And it gives you all this spot transactional, all this carrier information, and what it costs to run that. Once again, this is very, very valuable in the full truckload market in regards to quoting and to find carriers and what they ran it for in the past. One of the greatest things our brokers do to succeed is we'll use this information, call that carrier, and say, hey, I know you ran this before a week or two in the past at you know, $1,000. Can you do this again? Within, you can tell there's a lot of information in here, a lot of good carriers to use to start sourcing for your full truckload. All right. Next, we will talk about DAT or DAT and truck stop in regards to searching trucks or sourcing trucks, searching loads, see what other loads are out there in the 3PL world, an asset base to see what kind of quoting and prices are out there in the marketplace. Search loads to start, great for same-day spot market freight. Search loads, we will show the Broker Buddy tool, which my brokers absolutely love. That is only in truck stop. And DAT and ITS rates and how my team generally learns how to quote full truckloads. That is not the golden ticket, though. You know, when we use one of the tools, DAT Rate View or Rate Mate for ITS, all it does is give you a foundation. It doesn't mean it's 100% accurate. There is a lot of information and variables that go into quoting, and we will touch base that when I do a live demo here very shortly. Also, if you're interested, DAT and TruckStop does do online webinars. That's something that you're interested and you need something to follow up. And towards the end of this presentation, you're more than welcome once again to reach out to me directly. Give me one moment. I'm going to pull DAT up for you. All right, this is DAT. Everybody within my floor here in Scottsdale has this tool to be able to quote, find trucks, see what's out there in the marketplace, and we'll go by those three features right now. So let's say you have one of your customers asking about a truckload from Odessa, Texas to Phoenix, Arizona. It's picking up tomorrow morning or maybe even late available tonight, and you want to see what's out there in the quote. Obviously, it's a very time crunch sensitive load, and it might be a valuable opportunity to make some margin. But you're kind of in a pinch right now and you want to learn how to quote that. We can go out there and see what's in the marketplace with other 3PLs, and I'll show you how to do that right now. All you do is click the search load features, and we'll make it easy, and we'll just probably do Los Angeles to Houston, which I have right now already pulled up for. It is a little bit of a time frame from August 1st to August 3rd. I can get that switched for you. Pull that down for you. I should say it's picking up tonight because we're on the West Coast time over here in Arizona. 150-mile radius, DHO means the destination origin, or the origin and destination, if it's full, partial, or both, the length on it, the weight, and search back of the days. I keep generally everything standard like this. It's protocol here in Global Trans, but you're more than welcome to change that as well. Also on the left where it says V, you can switch that as well if you're doing a flatbed, if you're doing a step deck, Conestoga, anything like that. There's a ton of features out there. There's reefers as well. There's all kind of different tabs you can be able to switch in regards to equipment. But to make things simple, we'll just click van for you. And so if you're trying to figure out trying to figure out how to quote it right now in the time punch, you click search. And here we go. First thing that my team generally does is see out there in regards to quoting is click rate. Click that again. And right now you have a Santa Fe Springs to Baton Rouge for 3,300. You can kind of see all the rates that are out there right now in 150-mile radius. And that's what you're competing with out there. So, you know, as you can see on the left, that Santa Fe Springs is relatively, from a time perspective, I'll put a little mouse over for you, it's relatively new. if that was hypothetically for an hour or two, and that load still posted up at that rate, maybe that's not the price that you want to go in at. Maybe you want to go in a little higher on that. The cost, might be 35 to 37. Ultimately, the decision is yours, but we want to give you as much data as possible to help win as much full truckload freight. And at the end of the day, you want to make as much margin as possible. Next, we'll go to search trucks. Very simple, very easy to use. We'll just go through it pretty quickly here. Let's just do vans. You want to start sourcing for that. Let's say you win that LA to Houston and it's picking up tonight. Pop that in here real quick. And if you do not have DAT or ITF, once we talk about this, and it's something that you're very interested into, you're more than welcome to reach out to help desk at globaltrans.com to get that started. All right, as you can see in a relatively timely manner right now, there is a van out in Carson, California. It looks like it says 18 miles from origin right there. Might be a great way to start calling to see if you can find a truck once you win that load, hopefully from your customer. And our brokers, right from the get-go, will just start dialing right down the list, see what's available. Next and last in DAT, we'll talk about posting loads. Once again, that makes it very, very easy, very user-friendly to help post full truckloads. So you got the LA to Houston, we'll just make that easy again. Houston. You can put zip codes as well. Generally have become accustomed to putting cities. Now weight, you want to be very, very careful and try to be very specific as possible regarding the weight. If it's something from a van side, 45,000 pounds, you want to put that. If it's 46,000 pounds, that's considered OD on the van side, and you want to put that. Flatbed, anything generally over 48,000 pounds, that's considered OD, and you want to put that information on there. Now let's talk about offer rates. This goes 50-50 on that. Generally, if we're in a tight frame, I like to generally post rates on it. So you're more than welcome to put a rate or not. That's really up to you on that. I'm going to put a weight on here, 45,000 pounds. You tab over. It's your contact information right now. You're more than welcome to put your cell phone in here as well. You can put in your comments or anything specific. If it needs team drivers, hazmat, any of that information, you can put it in the comment section. If it's a weird commodity, you're more than welcome to put that as well. Any information that the carrier has, put that information in there. Let me put 53 on there. I apologize about that. All you do is click post. You got that load from your customer, and then once then you just start sourcing away and start calling. Hopefully this helps everybody. Okay, next we'll go on Internet Truck Stop for you and go over some of the similar tools that Truck Stop has along with DAT. Once again, if you have any additional questions, you're more than welcome to reach me out through email. All right, here's a Truck Stop for you. So brief little rundown of it. Very, very easy to use as well, just like DAT. You click search. You got a load and you're trying to source for some trucks. All you do is click that. Get that to load up. Do a quick search. Los Angeles. Let me see. Equipment type, we'll do van, make it easy. And Houston. bump that down to 200 so you get a good lift. And there you go. Great, valuable tool to help source trucks for your load, and at the end of the day, win as much margin as possible for you and your company. There's a lot more extra details that we can spend a lot more time on, but once again, I'll keep reminding you guys you're more than welcome to follow up with me. One of the great features Truckstop has is the search load features. Once again, this is fantastic for spot loads, same day, next day freight. You can see what's out there in the market. If you're having difficulties quoting a load, you're more than welcome to find out, see what's in the market, and see what you are competing against. As you see the rates right there. The company to the left just gives you a good gist. You can tell some of them aren't posting their rates out there, but there are loads out there, and that's what you're competing with at this time. If you want to get a little bit more specific on that, on the time frame, you click that new search feature. Let me back that out and show you that again. Click the new search feature. You can add a lot more information on that. It's hazmat, it's teams, tarp, expedited, pallet exchange. And you're more than welcome to do the pickup date, like for tomorrow. Probably much more valuable out there. Let's try that again. I gotta put that in there. I apologize about that. All right, as you can see that my previous search is still in there. I just go over to the right hand, follow trash can, click that, delete it, bump that 10 and 200. And it's still a little quiet on there, guys. So that's searching loads. We talked about searching trucks, posting DAT. We'll go through it very quickly. New post, just like DAT, just put in the foundations on it. Something very important that I want to do, touch base on it. All you want to do is get the carrier interested in the phone, or on the phone and calling on your load. Now, let's say you have a load picking up in Morenci, which is east in the middle of nowhere in Arizona. What I would recommend doing just to get a carrier interested on it, put Tucson, Arizona. You can put another posting from Phoenix, Arizona. You just want to get that carrier interested in the load and call on it, and then you can really start to negotiate that load. I'm not going to get too much into depth on it. Very simple. Origin, destination, equipment type, the rate, that's ultimate up to you. The pickup date, pickup time, delivery date, delivery time, you can touch base on that how you see fit. And the special instructions, if you want to put your telephone number in that, you're more than welcome to do that. I'm going to go through the broker buddy topic for you. I'm going to be real quick. Please be patient with me. I'd probably say this is one of the second or third best tools from a warm lead perspective that our brokers use here in Scottsdale. As you can see, I kept it relatively simple. Just put the weight and the pickup date, and I'm going to post and close it. Okay, so here's the posting that the carriers can see out there in the market. Full truckload, Los Angeles to Houston. So I talked about the broker buddy. That is the BB that's right here. And currently it's at a 0, as everybody can see on the screen. What I'm going to do is be able to click that for you. Let's say somebody, any carrier out there decides just to look what's inside the load. They might not be calling on it, but they're just semi-interested in the load. If someone goes into my load, that will go from 0 to 1, 1 to 2, 2 to 3, 3 to 4. And then as soon as you click it out here where it says 0, if it shows 1, you click it, it'll give you the carrier's information, the telephone number, their MC number, all the vital information for you to call on. So what our brokers do from here, they see a 1, 2, 3, 4, all the, we've seen some loads go all the way to, 20 to 30. It's a very warm lead. Call XYZ carrier, hey, I know that you saw my load. Is there something interested about it? Then you start the negotiating process and hopefully at the end, book that load with it. And we'll go, on the next slide, we'll go through a quick feature run through of how to carrier assign a load. If you need to adjust anything, click that wrench. You can update all the features you want. If you want to update your posting, your rate, whatever the case may be, you can do it from right there. All right, and that's a quick overview on the DAT and ITS feature in regards to searching the loads in the marketplace that's out there, searching trucks for your loads, and to be able to post your loads, and hopefully that helps you succeed. All right, next we'll talk about seasonal trends, Q2 specifically. It's been a little hectic out there. I'm sure some of you people out there have felt it, and we'll do a quick overview about Q2 and going into Q3 and 4. All right, Q2, produce season just happened. We're slightly getting towards the tail end of it. Rates are slowly starting to drop, but this last quarter has been very, very, very crazy out there in regards to rates. The more information I've seen, one of our great blogs that I like to look into is DAT's blog, which is dat.blog.com. Very valuable asset in regards to seeing what's out there in the marketplace. The rates have been absolutely astronomical, specifically in Q2 right now, and they're starting to slowly go down. So what happens is all the produce starts in the south, heads over to the west, the LA area, the Nogales area, the McAllen areas, and then everything goes up north as the weather tends to gets warmer. In regards to educating your customer, you got to remember, if a customer's not understanding why these full truckload rates are dramatically increasing, you want to be able to educate the customer to understand why it costs X amount of dollars to that carrier. One of the greatest tools that DAT has that my brokers use on them, we'll do a very, very quick overview, is a map, a very heat map in regarding to loaded truck ratios. And I'm going to pop that up there for you for everyone to see. It's just a map of the United States, but it gives you a very good gist of what's going out there in the marketplace right now. All right, so this is back in DAT. Click that little box up there on the top right. Hot market map. All right, and as you see, it's the last business day. This is the entire United States. Oops, a little zoomed out. Sorry about that. So you kind of just click out there regarding the loaded truck ratios and what's considered very, very hot. The legend is in the bottom left. Dark red means that area is very, very hot. And if you have a load coming out of Phoenix, for example, pulling up. I don't know why that's not pulling up. Sorry about that. I don't know why it's going away. But you can tell in the Phoenix and Arizona market, we're still at the tail end of the produce season. You have a van load that's out of Phoenix going to LA or Houston or Florida, for example. You're competing with a lot of other produce out there, a lot of good paying loads. So if a Phoenix customer is most likely not understanding why the rates are increasing right now, this is something that some of our brokers and sales reps, they'll literally just snip the picture and send that over to the customer to inform them, to educate them, and the reasons why the rates are dramatically increasing for that Phoenix market. Everything in Nogales right now, there's a lot of produce going right now that perishable, so it has to go out in a very timely manner. So if you have loads that are out of Phoenix, for example, right now, with how dark red it is, you're competing with that very high paying loads right now. You can tell in the United States right now, it is dark red across the United States. Florida, as you can tell, this used to be dark red. Now it's starting to get into a lighter pink, which means rates should hopefully start to dwindle down a little bit here in the near future in quarter three and quarter four. But once again, to get to the heat map, all you do is on the top right, click the hot market map, and this gets updated every morning. So the first or second thing I check as soon as I come into the office to kind of see what's out in the market and see if it's been changing or not. All right, and quoting, we'll just touch base again on that. If nervous, go to DAT and ITS. See what other 3PLs are paying for that lane similar to yours. If you're not comfortable with quoting, use a history. Use everything, all the tools, the carrier management tool in Command Center. Command Center has such valuable tools along with DAT and ITS. You should have a very good foundational piece in regards to quoting the full truckload. Quarter three, quarter four, we're going into quarter three, quarter four. Rates are slowly dropping in the full truckload market, and in some areas they will drop dramatically. I actually read an article today on the DAT blog that talked about avocado prices. Generally, those are the market in LA is dramatically dropping a little bit quicker than usual because of the heat. The heat's getting so hot in LA, it's actually ruined the crops in the avocado market. So there's not many as avocado loads as there used to be. So there's a lot less competition right now than it normally is, hence why the rates are dropping. Once again, like we talked about earlier, dat.blog.com is a very good informational piece to see what's out there in the full truckload market. Leveraging volume. So let's say one of your customers has a few lanes that actually does, 2 to 10 loads a week, something that's a little bit more repetitive. If you're posting a load, you're sourcing for carriers, using Command Center, the carrier management tab, and you find a carrier interested in one of those loads, always a good reminder to touch base if you have the opportunity to let them know that you have more loads. And if they do have more loads, that's something that you might be able to get them on a carrier contract, so to speak, and have a set rate from either, a monthly basis, a quarterly basis, a semi-annual, and an annual basis. And that's a win-win for everybody, which we'll talk about later on this slide. But if you can keep your costs dedicated at that same rate for a specific amount of time, that's a very, very solid thing for you and your business, and for the customer as well, which we'll touch base at a later time. Carriers like that as well. If you do have the loads, repetitive loads for you, because they don't want to chase other freight. They don't want to go on DAT. They don't want to go on ITS and go chase another load to figure out where's tomorrow's loads, where's the next day's loads coming for. If they know that another load's coming Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, the same load, same lane, that's very valuable for them. So if you have a multiple amount of loads throughout a week or 2 weeks, always when you're talking to carriers, to see if that's an opportunity for you and your customer. We'll talk about the win for everyone. The customer knows the same carrier is going to come in and provide excellent service. The customer loves that. They know XYZ trucking is going to come in there 4 days a week, pick the load up, deliver it on time, and provide excellent service. The carrier loves it because they don't have to keep searching for other loads. They're not behind the 8 ball going on DAT and ITS, just kind of scrambling to find another load for their drivers. The carriers absolutely love repetitive freight if it's financially beneficial to them. The broker absolutely loves it as well because they know the carrier is going to provide excellent service to the customer. This, in turn, should produce more potential spot freight from the customer. The customer is winning, the broker is winning, and the carrier is winning. Everybody's in a really, really good position. And hopefully, in the end of the day, like we keep touching base before, that there's more margin and more money in your pocket. At least we'll talk about posting techniques. We kind of touched base on that earlier in regards to just posting your loads, negotiating tactics. Big city, big city. If it's in the middle of nowhere and there's no big city within 250 miles or 200 miles, I'd probably recommend actually doing that exact city. If it's something near, I guess you would say, a 100-mile radius, Phoenix, Atlanta, Houston, Miami, you're more than welcome to, I would recommend putting those big cities on there and just getting that carrier interested. Generally, if carriers can't pronounce the city, generally they won't, there's a good recommendation, they probably will not be interested in that load. Whereas if they hear Atlanta, Miami, Phoenix, they're more interested into that load. If you're asking where to start from a margin standpoint and where to start with the carrier cost, generally the good basis is 15-20% lower than your revenue. Plus, you always want to counter with the lower rate than what the carrier initially offered. I always try to get a counter from a carrier right away. If you throw a rate out there and the carrier says yes right away, you maybe made $200, but there's a good chance maybe you could have made $250, $300, $400 on it. Remember, you can always start low because you can always go higher. If you start high and the carrier says yes, there's generally no chance the carrier is going to drop down from the original rate that you agreed upon. Let's say you posted a couple loads to LA to Houston, which we talked about earlier. You're not receiving any action. There's no call-ins. You're like, why can I not get this booked? Something going on out. I would probably say 8 out of 10 times it's generally just a rate. It's just a rate issue. You know, and that's why I keep talking about going before what the search load function to see what's out there in the marketplace. You know, if there's nobody's looking on it in Broker Buddy, nobody's even interested in it, it's generally more often than not a rate increase. And if you're posting a load with their rate, good often than not, I would recommend bumping that rate to a place where carriers are definitely interested into. And that goes back to the coding aspect of how it's not a golden ticket and there's a one-way tool for it. We want to use all the tools within Command Center and GAC to make an educated guess. Some common carriers rebuttals that my brokers and I hear all the time. You know, they're interested in it, they called in up, but the load's too heavy, that the rate's too low, and I have to talk to the driver. Those are just some common carriers rebuttals that we hear quite often for you, and if you do have full truckloads, I'm sure you have heard them before. I just want to say thank you for your time regarding the carrier sales overview. Once again, if you have any questions, you're more than welcome to reach out to me at adamsosna@globaltrans.com. And it was a wonderful time speaking to you, and best of luck to you out there in the marketplace. Thank you.
Thank you for everyone joining the call. Thank you for bearing with us. Also, this is our first webinar using WebEx. We're switching from GoToMeeting to WebEx, so I appreciate everybody being patient with us while we figure out the audio issues. Like we said, please, please, please feel free to email us, call us if you have questions. Feel free to utilize the agent training team if you have new members or you want a refresher. A lot of processes change, a lot of things change. So please don't hesitate to reach out to us if you need more help or have any specific questions, all right? This was recorded, so if you're interested in getting a copy of the recording, please let me know, and I can send that to you. And then I also have these decks that I'll be able to export and send you as well. So thank you, everyone. I really appreciate it.